Welcome to our deep dive today.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at the life of Steve Jobs.
All right.
Sounds good.
And we always try to kind of...
Yeah, beyond just the typical headlines, the turtlenecks and the keynotes and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Like what really made this guy tick?
So, right from the beginning, his life had some interesting turns.
Yeah, sure.
He was born in San Francisco back in 1955, and his biological mother, Joanne Schiebel, was really determined that he would be raised by college-educated parents.
She was.
Yeah.
But things don't always go according to plan, right?
Right.
She ended up placing him with Paul and Claire Jobs,
Yeah.
who were a working class couple.
Yeah.
They didn't have degrees, but they did promise something else, something maybe even more valuable.
Oh, okay.
They promised to prioritize his education and even pay for college.
I see. So it's like right from the beginning, he's got these expectations sort of riding on him.
Yeah, you got to wonder how knowing that shaped him, right?
Right. Did it fuel his ambition?
Maybe even created a sense of needing to prove himself.
Right.
It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely adds a layer of complexity to his story.
Right.
And speaking of complexity,
Yeah.
his childhood continues with some of that.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't exactly like the best student in traditional classrooms.
Oh, really?
But give him electronics, and he was in his element.
Interesting.
And his dad, working with him in their garage, really nurtured that passion.
So sometimes the most ordinary settings, like a family garage,
Yeah,
can become the birthplace of extraordinary things.
it's true.
And speaking of extraordinary,
Yeah.
there's that famous story about Steve when he was just 13 years old.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're going to say.
He cold called Bill Hewlett,
Bill Hewlett,
DeVille Hewlett
right, of HP.
of HP,
Yeah.
because he needed parts for an electronics project.
He needed parts, and he wasn't
Yeah.
afraid to go right to the top.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And not only did he get the parts,
Wow.
but he impressed Hewlett enough to snag a summer job.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about early signs of that job's charm
Uh-huh.
and boldness.
Right.
It seems like he always knew how to make an impression and get what he wanted.
Yeah, and then he goes to Homestead High.
Yeah.
And that's where he meets Steve Wozniak.
His future partner in crime.
Right, at Apple.
Uh,
And their entrepreneurial spirit first shows up in a scheme involving blue boxes.
Blue boxes. What were these blue boxes?
Yeah, what were they?
Well, Wozniak designed them, and Jobs, being the natural salesman that he was, he sold them.
Okay.
And what did these blue boxes do?
What did they do?
They let people make free long-distance calls.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about the audacity of these teenagers taking on the giant telecom companies.
It's almost a mini Apple in action, right?
It is.
Challenging the status quo, finding a way to disrupt the system.
Absolutely. It shows a pattern of thinking differently.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it reveals how both of these guys had these unique talents that, when combined, made them just unstoppable.
Yeah.
Wozniak with the technical genius,
Yeah.
and Jobs with the vision and the drive to take it to the masses.
Yeah. And all of this is happening during a time of really massive cultural shifts.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about the era of Eastern mysticism,
Uh-huh.
LSD experimentation, Zen Buddhism.
Yeah.
And Steve Jobs is diving headfirst into it all.
It's tempting to just dismiss this as just youthful exploration, but
Yeah.
if we connect it to the bigger picture of his life and his work, it kind of makes sense.
Right.
Think about Apple's later emphasis on simplicity and intuition.
Yeah.
Those almost transcendental product experiences.
Right.
These weren't just marketing tactics.
Right, yeah.
This was something much deeper rooted in Jobs' personal worldview.
So you think maybe without those experiences, Apple wouldn't have had the same DNA?
It's hard to say, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it is.
And it wasn't just Eastern philosophy that influenced him. Even something as random as taking calligraphy classes at Reed College.
What?
Yeah, he ends up dropping out. But he was drawn to the beauty and the artistry of calligraphy. And later, he brings that same sensibility to the Mac's multiple typefaces.
Oh, wow. So that's where that came from.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
It was a radical concept at the time, who thought computers needed beautiful fonts.
Right.
But for Jobs, it was all connected. Technology should be both functional and aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
And it's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected influences can lead to brilliant innovations.
Yeah. And then in the most unassuming of places.
Let me guess.
His parents' garage.
The garage Apple is born.
Of course, the ultimate Silicon Valley origin story, right?
I know, it's amazing to think about that.
It really is.
This small startup fueled by passion and a few soldering irons would go on to challenge the giants of the tech industry.
It's incredible.
There's even a story about a neighbor.
Oh, yeah. What's the story? Who saw what they were doing in there and scoffed at it,
Yeah.
comparing it very unfavorably
Yeah.
to the established mainframe computer industry.
Oh, the irony.
I know.
It speaks volumes about the power of vision.
Yeah.
Jobs and Wozniak weren't just building computers, they were building tools to empower individuals.
And that really became the core of Apple's identity.
Absolutely.
And they wasted no time.
No.
The Apple Ion 2 hit the market.
Yeah.
And you can already see Jobs' keen sense for design and marketing starting to shine through.
Yeah, he understood that to really revolutionize computing technology had to be accessible and appealing to everyone, not just techies.
Right.
And it paid off.
It did.
The Apple II, with its sleek design and user-friendly interface, it became one of the first mass-produced microcomputers.
Wow.
Proving that Jobs' instincts about what people wanted were spot on.
Yeah.
It was a huge step toward bringing personal computing into homes and classrooms.
But even during the development of the Apple II, there was a clash between Jobs and Wozniak.
Oh, really? What happened?
Wozniak wanted 8 expansion slots for the computer,
Right.
while Jobs insisted on just 2
Boy.
because he wanted to keep the design really clean and simple.
It's a classic example of their contrasting personalities.
Yeah.
Wozniak, the brilliant engineer, focused on functionality, while Jobs, the visionary, focused on the overall user experience.
Right.
So they ended up compromising. They put the 8 slots in,
Okay.
but it really highlighted this key dynamic that would play out throughout their partnership.
Yeah.
Jobs' relentless pursuit of his vision, even if it meant pushing back against, the people closest to him.
It's that drive, that refusal to compromise that leads to the next really pivotal chapter in Jobs' journey, the creation of the Lisa and ultimately the Macintosh.
The Mackets.
Yeah, but that's a story
For next time.
for part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay. I can't wait.
So stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how all those early successes and those clashes really shaped Steve Jobs' path.
Yeah, totally.
Now we're getting into the era of Lisa and the Macintosh,
Yeah, the Mac.
where his vision for the future of computing really starts to take shape.
Yeah, the Lisa was Jobs' first major attempt at creating a computer with a graphical user interface, or GUI,
Right.
something that he had gotten a glimpse of during a visit to Xerox PAC.
Yeah, it was such a radical departure from the text-based interfaces that were the standard at the time.
Totally. But it was also way ahead of its time.
Right.
Expensive and complex.
It's interesting how Jobs was both inspired by what he saw at Xerox PAC, but also critical of it.
Yeah, he saw the potential of the GUI, but he felt like Xerox hadn't fully grasped its power,
Right.
They hadn't made it intuitive and user-friendly enough.
Yeah.
And that's where his drive for simplicity and elegance really comes into play.
And of course, he ends up being pushed out of the Lisa project,
Yeah.
which ultimately becomes a commercial flop. But he takes those lessons learned and pours them into the Macintosh.
The Mac.
He saw the Mac as a chance to create a computer for the rest of us, a machine that was both powerful and approachable.
Yeah. And he was just relentless in his pursuit of that vision.
Right.
He handpicked this amazing team of engineers and designers, instilled in them this incredible sense of mission, and really pushed them to create something truly revolutionary.
I've heard so many stories about his demanding nature,
Oh, yeah.
his obsession over every little
That
detail.
was intense.
But that intensity is also what fueled their creativity
Yeah, for sure.
and led to those groundbreaking innovations.
Totally.
The Mac launched in 1984 with that iconic 1984 Super Bowl ad.
Oh, yeah. I remember that ad.
It wasn't just a new computer.
It was a cultural moment.
It was a cultural moment.
Yeah, it challenged the dominance of IBM. It introduced the world to the concept of a user-friendly computer.
Right.
And it set the stage for everything that Apple would become.
Yeah, it really did.
The Mac was more than just a product. It was like a statement.
What kind of statement?
It said that computers could be beautiful, intuitive, and empowering.
And that message really resonated with people.
Yeah, especially creatives
Right.
who saw the Mac as a tool for self-expression and innovation.
But that intense leadership style, that drive for perfection,
Yeah,
it also led to conflict.
of course it did.
He clashed with Apple's CEO, John Sculley,
Yeah.
and in a dramatic turn of events, Jobs was forced out of the very company he had founded.
Oh, what a blow that must
It
have
was
been.
a crushing blow.
Yeah, but it was also a turning point. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like he needed that time away from Apple to grow and refine his approach and learn from his mistakes.
Right.
He goes on to found NXT,
Right.
which wasn't a commercial success,
Right.
but it allowed him to further develop his design philosophy and create technologies that would later be crucial for Apple's resurgence.
And let's not forget his investment in Pixar.
Pixar.
It might seem like a detour, from the world of computers.
Yeah. But it actually reveals this key aspect of Jobs' vision. What's that? The power of storytelling.
Storytelling.
He saw the potential of computer animation to create entirely new forms of entertainment.
Yeah.
And with Pixar, he helped to pioneer, the world of 3D animated films.
Yeah.
Toy Story, released in 1995.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a technological marvel.
No.
It was also a critical and commercial success that proved that audiences were hungry for these kinds of stories.
Totally. And then it all circles back to Apple.
It does.
In 1997, the struggling company acquired NXT,
Wow.
bringing Jobs back to the helm.
What a comeback.
It was a stunning comeback, and he didn't waste any time shaking things up.
He didn't.
The iMac, launched in 1998, was the first sign that Jobs was back and that things were going to be different.
Yeah, remember those colorful, translucent, all-in-one computers?
Oh, yeah. How could you forget them?
I know, it's such a radical departure from the, beige boxes that dominated the PC market at the time.
Totally.
But it wasn't just about looks, though, right? No. It also signaled a shift in Apple's focus, back to simplicity and ease of use.
Okay.
It was about creating a computer that was approachable and even fun to use.
Right.
Jobs understood that to truly succeed, technology had to be more than just functional.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be aesthetically pleasing, intuitive, and even emotionally resonant.
And that philosophy, that attention to detail, would guide the development of the products that would really define the next decade.
The iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad.
Right.
We're talking about game changers here.
We are, but before we dive into those,
Okay.
let's just take a moment to appreciate how much ground we've already covered.
Yeah, from blue boxes to boardroom battles, from animation to the iMac.
It's clear that Jobs' path was not linear
Yeah, no straight lines here.
or predictable.
It's messy, it's unpredictable, it's full of these unexpected detours.
And that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Exactly. It's a reminder that innovation rarely follows a straight line.
It doesn't.
So stay tuned as we explore the next chapter of this incredible journey.
The era of the iPod, iPhone, and iPad,
Right.
where Steve Jobs really cemented his legacy as a true visionary. Welcome back to our deep dive into the life and legacy of Steve Jobs. It's incredible to think about how far he came from that garage in Los Altos to becoming a global icon.
It really is.
We've explored his early years, his rise to success, and even those setbacks he faced along the way.
Right.
Now it's time to delve into the products that truly cemented his place in history.
Yeah.
The iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad.
These weren't just new gadgets.
Yeah.
They were game changers.
They really were.
Each one redefined its category.
Yeah.
And each one a testament to Jobs' ability to anticipate what consumers didn't even know they wanted yet.
Let's start with the iPod, launched in 2001.
Okay.
At the time, MP3 players were clunky and complicated, but Jobs saw an opportunity to create something better.
Yeah.
Something that would make listening to music a truly enjoyable experience.
He famously challenged his team to create a device that could fit 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Wow.
And the result was the iPod.
The iPod.
A sleek, minimalist device with an intuitive interface that revolutionized the way we listen to music.
And remember that iconic click wheel?
Oh, yeah, the click wheel.
So simple,
Yeah.
yet brilliant design element that made navigating through thousands of songs effortless.
It was brilliant.
It wasn't just about the technology. It was about creating a product that felt good to hold, that was easy to use, and that looked really good too.
The iPod was a cultural phenomenon. It wasn't just a music player. It was a fashion statement,
Yeah.
a status symbol.
Totally.
And it really helped to usher in the era of digital music,
Yeah.
transforming the entire music industry.
Then came the iPhone in 2007.
The iPhone.
It's hard to imagine now, but at the time, smartphones were mostly about business email and clunky web browsing.
Right.
But Jobs saw an opportunity to create something truly revolutionary.
What was it?
A device that would combine the power of a computer with the convenience of a phone. He wanted to create a phone that was as beautiful as it was functional, with a touch interface so intuitive that anyone could pick it up and use it.
Remember that first iPhone unveiling?
I do.
It seemed like magic.
It did.
Like something out of a science fiction film.
And it wasn't just hype.
No.
The iPhone truly redefined what a mobile phone could be.
It was a pocket-sized computer that could browse the web, play music, take pictures, and run apps.
Yeah.
It was the birth of the app economy.
It was.
Opening up endless possibilities for developers and changing the way we communicate, consume information, and interact with the world around us.
And then just 3 years later came the iPad.
The iPad.
So many people questioned the need for a tablet.
I remember that.
But Jobs saw it as a new category of device, something that could bridge the gap between smartphones and laptops.
Yeah, he believed in the power of touch.
Right.
That our fingers were the most intuitive tools we have. So the iPad was designed for browsing the web, watching videos, reading books, and playing games, activities that were cumbersome on a phone, but didn't necessarily require the full power of a laptop.
Right.
It was a bold move.
It was.
But once again, Jobs' vision proved to be spot on.
Yeah.
The iPad created this whole new market, and it paved the way for the tablet revolution that we see today.
I mean, think about how tablets have changed education, healthcare, and retail.
Yeah, countless industries have been transformed by this device.
It's amazing to consider the lasting impact of these three products.
It really is.
They weren't just about technology, they were about changing the way we live, work, and play.
It's true.
They were a testament to Jobs' relentless pursuit of innovation, his obsessive attention to detail, and his unwavering belief in the power of design to elevate and enrich our lives.
But beyond the products, what's truly inspiring is the legacy that he left behind.
What is it?
He showed us that technology can be more than just tools.
Okay.
It can be art. It can be a form of self-expression. It can be a force for good in the world.
So he challenged us to think differently,
Right.
to push boundaries, and to never settle for anything less than excellence. Jobs wasn't perfect, and he was certainly a complex and sometimes controversial figure.
Right.
But there's no denying his impact on the world.
He was a visionary leader, a master of design, and a relentless innovator who dared to imagine a future where technology could empower us to achieve extraordinary things.
His story is a reminder that one person with a clear vision and the determination to see it through can truly change the world.
It's true.
So as you go about your day, think about the devices you use, the apps you rely on, the ways in which technology has become seamlessly integrated into your life.
Yeah.
And remember the man who dared to imagine a different future, a future where technology wasn't just functional, but it was beautiful, intuitive, and empowering.
That's the legacy of Steve Jobs.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's giving you a new perspective on the life and legacy of this remarkable man.